with your county commissioner, with officers, to indemnify himself from further claims from the public. That is obstruction of justice, and that is a serious offense. Finally, the issue of the national disaster management. It is true, we have sponsored an act, a bill, myself and Senator Mutula. I think it'll be prudent for us to sit down together. We have asked for the national disaster management policy. We have not yet received it. I have personally spoken to your PS on this, because the policy has been passed by cabinet. It is not a secret document. And even when we asked, he expressed shock that we have not been given the document by officers in your ministry saying, no, we are not at liberty to share this document. Naturally, legislation should come from policy. But the reason we're putting this together is because we've seen a lot of disjointed response to disasters. We have multiplicity of agencies. You have NDOC, NDMA, you have like 3-4 agencies who, at many instances, when a disaster has happened, spend more than an hour agreeing on who is in charge. I've been there personally. When the building collapsed 2 years ago in Uruma, for more than an hour, in fact, the young people in Uruma almost chased away officers. Because they said, now, as you're taking time haggling who's in charge, let us go in there. And I can see some of the officers who we have been with on the ground at the times of these disasters. So kindly, it will be good for us to agree and expedite on this issue. I think, finally, Chair, in as much as you're saying compensation cannot be done because liability has not been determined, are you aware that an agency of government in the Ministry of Environment has issued a restoration order to the ownership of Solai Dam under the Environmental Management Coordination Act, which presupposes that already you are liable for destruction of the environment? That order has been issued by government to the owners of the dam, telling them that they need to restore the environment to a certain status. As the coordinator of national government, are you aware of that? And if you're aware of that, does that not presuppose admission of liability, even if it's just on the environmental degradation, leave alone the criminal aspects of it? Because if you look at EMCA, and I would ask that if you can get a copy of the Act, Section 108, Section 109, talks about compensation. It talks about an award, an amount that the person who is accused of degrading the environment and causing harm should pay. By the time a government entity is asking for that, it means that it has been determined that there exists liability from that individual. Chair, let me leave it at that for now.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, thank you again, Senator. There are many ways of becoming aware of either misbehavior or misconduct on the part of national government administration officials. Some come through complaints, some come through our own suspicions. But when we look at certain things and we are not satisfied with what has been done, let me be very frank with you. And honestly, Senator, this matter has been subjected to several investigations. The first action that happened is the DPP ordered the CID to proceed with investigations. And from our understanding, from the point of view of government, when that happens, when the DPP has ordered an investigation to begin, we all stand still and wait for that investigation to be complete. Because if we go in and start doing other sideline investigations, it will also look like we are actually interfering with the process that has been directed by the DPP. And then we waited for that investigation to be complete. And as soon as the investigation was complete, the DPP decided to press charges. When that process is going on in that kind of manner, the truth of the matter is that our room for beginning to probe our activities is taken away by the fact that we hope that that investigation is comprehensive enough. If there is criminal conduct on the part of even of our own officials, it would actually be pulled out from that particular investigation, as it were. Now, the situation is, and I will not walk away from responsibility, Mr. Chairman. If, for example, we actually got information that our officials were involved or did what they were not supposed to do, there's very clear procedure for taking action and for disciplining people. What I am saying is, as at now, I don't have that information. I could actually myself, on my own motion, commence investigation, particularly targeted at the officials who are involved, if I have sufficient information to suspect that there is, criminal conduct or there is unethical conduct, as it were. When the CAS came before you, Mr. Chairman, quite frankly, we did not get the impression that he was asked to come back to us and tell us that you have information that our national government administration officials have misbehaved. Now we know. What I suggest we do on this particular matter is that I will look at this again, because my peers is here with me. I actually asked the regional commissioner for Rift Valley, Mr. Jimwaga, to give us a report on everything around Solai. The assumption is that any officials who are involved in this are the people who report to Mr. Jimwaga, as it were, and he would give us the information and tell us this is what has happened and so on and so forth. I have the report from the regional commissioner, which I'm going to table before you when we have the in-camera proceeding, because there are certain issues I would also like to raise in the context of that, which I don't want to talk about in open committee. But Mr. Chairman, when I'm saying truthfully that I am not aware of this, it's truly I am not aware. I could seek the information, and if it is the opinion of the committee that I seek information on the conduct of some of my national government administration officials, I will do so. As a responsible public servant, I will do so and find out what exactly happened, because that's what I'm expected to do by law. On the issue of...
Just wait. Senator Zakaria has said that the owner of the dam was seated where you are seated, and he confirmed that 35 million shillings was paid out as consolation with forms prepared by lawyers who is aware of and distributed by your officers. Now, I would like the CS to take the mic, because he was before us. And please confirm whether we instructed, or are you, to, whether instruction or directed, you to check, and whether you undertook to check and report to us. Because what the Cabinet Secretary is saying is not what is on record. We requested you, and you confirmed that you would check. Now, other than the information that we have already given you, other than the information that we have received on record, which other method then would you receive information? Could you please confirm, because we want it to be on record.
Sure, Chair. You remember when I appeared in this committee the second time, you didn't give me time to explain myself.
The first time. It was the first time.
That's what I'm saying. The first time you asked me to go find out what exactly happened. And
did you undertake to do it in person? And did you inform your Cabinet Secretary? We are very concerned. And I will explain the reason why we are very concerned about this. Everybody saying, I don't know.
You know, Chairman, remember that time when I appeared before the committee? When I came the second time, that's when you told me that the Cabinet Secretary must come. And that is why he's here today. And what exactly he's telling you is what I was going to tell you that day that you didn't give me to talk about.
But Waziri, you are saying you are not aware, but we requested him to investigate. And I'm going to get to the reason why we are going to investigate when I get to my questioning. But just like Senator Zakaria said, it's very curious that this matter has not been addressed. Yet it is the owner, the person who gave us 35 million has confirmed that he gave it through your officers. We don't know what sort of information outside all those parameters. And because we call ourselves honorable for a good reason, we cannot deliberately mislead the office.
Mr. Chairman.
Did you have something to say on that? And I would like to complete this subject so that we save on time. On this issue, this particular issue about the payouts.
Chair, I'm just a little bit concerned that Mr. Matiangi would have a problem first discussing a matter before this committee, in this committee, while he will not have a problem discussing it outside. And in terms of that line, in terms of that issue that I wanted to follow up, has got to do with the issue of a newspaper article that appeared showing a picture of one of your staff, I think the county commissioner, with the owner of the dam while they were doing the transaction of paying out the victims. So are you telling us that you're completely not aware of that? And I want you to be honest. And I think, next time we'll go with what Senator Zakaria said. We'll be holding these proceedings under oath, because I'm finding it a little bit deceptive that you would have an elaborate system, yet you would not be able to confirm whether your staff have been involved in any matter that can be complicit.
Before Cabinet Secretary answer, let me take two more questions. I want to save time. Professor? Cabinet Secretary, that you can address that question generally as you finish your remarks, but I want another question because Senator Kasanga has another question regarding that issue specifically. So you will address them comprehensively.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. CS Matiangi, it's kind of sad that you come here and tell us that you're not aware of this, you're not aware of that. We, the committee, you realize we represent wananchi. So we spend long hours, even our weekends, looking into this matter. And we have some information that should be on your docket as a minister of the government. So it makes us surprised that you come here and tell us that you're not aware of this and you're not aware of that. Eventually, when the report from your investigators comes out, we'll be very happy to kind of share that information and find where the truth is, because we have our own information being representatives of wananchi. Other than that, what other senators have already spoken about, I just want to go to the mundane questions that are already posed here. One of which is about the burials. In keeping with the African traditions, when people die, we want to take them home and bury them. And as far as I'm concerned, over 10 Turkana people died in this tragedy. I'd like to know who these people were that were buried at Solai, and whether anybody gave thought to that traditional practice that these people have to be taken home, ceremonies have to be performed, and buried in a proper way. So what steps were taken by your ministry to make sure that these people get transported home to be buried in accordance with African traditions? The thing about the government not being culpable and not going to give compensation, that again is beyond comprehension, because what we know tells us that some negligence was really out there by your officers, your engineers, your administrators, whatever. If they were serious, or if they had done the job they should have done as officers of the government, as employees of the government, this tragedy would have been avoided. They simply just didn't do that job, and so we hold them culpable. And since they represent the government, that means the government is also culpable and should compensate the victims of this tragedy in keeping with that culpability. Second to that is the fact that these are Kenyan citizens. When such a tragedy happens to Kenyan citizens, surely the government must step in and help those who are surviving to keep on with their lives. There were 52 kids that were left without parents, and these kids must be taken care of. And who takes care of them? Their government should. On a human note, the government should make sure that they go to school and get their fees paid and provide a place where they can live and all that. So I'm surprised to hear that 50,000 shillings was paid out. 50,000 shillings is no money. 50 shillings, you give it to me now, by the end of the day it's gone. So that is not enough. My last question here is the measures the national government has put in place to be sure that such a catastrophe does not happen again. In our report, we found that disaster management is just helter-skelter, all over the place. Nobody knows what the left hand is doing, and nobody knows what to do in a situation like this. So what steps are you putting in to be sure that in years coming, this kind of tragedy will not happen again, and Kenyans are not going to lose their lives? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I still would like to state this for the record. I do not have information within my office right now on unethical conduct on the part of national government administration officials. I will ask an investigation to be done. I will ask the regional security team in Rift Valley to investigate these matters. Now that it's explicitly clear that the Senate is concerned about this issue, I will ask for an investigation to be done on that specific issue. And once that investigation has been done, I will go the direction the report will point me. Whoever is culpable, they will face the full force of the law. I think it's better to put it that way, because you see, there's information that is coming to my knowledge now. There are times in the past, Mr. Chairman, and I would like to step down and discuss this with a measure of humanity. There are times when I have been excoriated as Minister for Interior for not knowing something that was on TV. The assumption is that I am supposed to be seated next to a TV and watch everything that is happening on TV so that I can make up my mind. It is possible that you can actually miss out something even when it is in the papers. And that's why systems are created. And when responsible leaders like yourself ask of me to do certain things, it is only fair that I act responsibly. And also, you know this as leaders, that we must give everyone their right to respond to the issues that are leveled against them. I'll take your report, and I promise you, Mr. Chairman and honorable members, I will take your report and I will take your instruction on this particular matter, and I will occasion an investigation in the normal order in which we do investigations for national government administration officials, and I will go to the bottom of the matter. And I will act. I promise you, we will act according to what we are supposed to do according to the law.
Please give us the timeline.